Colombian government accepted the conditions set by the White House for the deportations. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Luis Gilberto Murillo, he and the ambassador in the United States, Daniel Garcia Peña, will travel in next hours to Washington to hold high-level meetings that will follow up on the agreements resulting from the joint work and exchange of diplomatic notes that took place on Sunday between the two governments. Murillo stated that Colombia will continue to receive those who return as deportees, guaranteeing them dignified conditions as citizens with rights.
Comunicado oficial. El Gobierno de Colombia informa que hemos superado el impasse con el Gobierno de los Estados Unidos.
The government of Colombia informs that we have overcome the impasse with the government of the United States. In this context, the Foreign Minister, Luis Gilberto Murillo, and Ambassador Daniel Garcia Peña will travel to Washington in the next few days to hold high-level meetings to follow up on the agreements resulting from the joint work that led to the exchange of diplomatic notes between the two governments. We will continue to receive the Colombian men and women who return as deportees, guaranteeing them dignified conditions as citizens with rights. The government of Colombia, under the directive of President Gustavo Petro, has arranged for the presidential plane to facilitate the return of the Colombian nationals who were to arrive in the country today in the morning, hours on deportation flight. Colombia ratifies that diplomatic channels of dialogue will be maintained to guarantee the rights, national interests, and dignity of our citizens.
In this regard, the White House issued a statement notifying that the government of Colombia has accepted the terms and conditions of the U.S. President Donald Trump. The government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal immigrants from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft, without limitation or delay. The document also emphasized that based on this agreement, the tariffs and sanctions fully drafted under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act will be held in reserve and will not be signed unless Colombia does not comply with this agreement. They also maintain that the visa sanctions issued by the State Department and the enhanced customs and borders protection inspections will remain in effect until the first plane carrying Colombian deportees is successfully returned. They conclude with the following statement: today's events make it clear to the world that the United States is respected again. During the first hours of January 26, President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, informed in social media X that he disallowed the entry into the country of two military aircraft that were transporting nationals with an irregular situation in North American territory. Subsequently, President Donald Trump assured that in retaliation he would impose heavy tariffs on imports of Colombian products and visa sanctions. Colombia then requested an extraordinary summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States to discuss the tense situation created by the massive deportations of Latin American migrants. In this context, the President of Honduras, Xiomara Castro, in her capacity as President pro tempore of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, convened a meeting of presidents and heads of state scheduled for January 30th to discuss migration, the environment, and Latin American and Caribbean unity. Through a statement, the President of CELAC stated the pro tempore presidency of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, currently held by the Republic of Honduras, presents its compliments to all the national coordinating bodies of CELAC member states and informs that President Xiomara Castro is urgently convening an extraordinary meeting of presidents and heads of states of CELAC for next Thursday, January 30th, 2025, 11 a.m. local time, Honduras. The document also underlined in this regard, it is notified that this meeting has been scheduled in hybrid format. It should also be noted that His Excellency Mr. Gustavo Petro Urrego, President of the Republic of Colombia, incoming President pro tempore of CELAC, has confirmed his participation in person in Tegucigalpa. In Palestine, the Central Committee of the Fatah movement confirmed its categorical rejection of attempts to displace the Palestinian people from their territory. In a statement, they indicated that the decisions to lift sanctions on inhabitant settlers and to approve new shipments of U.S. missiles to the Israeli regime will serve to promote the conflict rather than extinguish it. Likewise, he reiterated that any position must strengthen efforts to end the conflict, while stressing that Palestine belongs to the Palestinians and their lands will not be handed over. Despite the agreement between the Palestinian resistance movement, Hamas, and the Israeli regime, the Zionist occupation forces continue to occupy areas of the Gaza Strip and prevent the return of the people of Gaza to their land. In Palestine, thousands of displaced people began to return to their homes in the north of the devastated Gaza Strip after Israel opened the Netzarim corridor. Most of the displaced people returned on foot through Al-Rashid, a street of at least 7 kilometers that stretches from the south to the north of the Strip and that has witnessed dozens of massacres during the 470 days of the conflict. The ceasefire agreement between Hamas resistance movement and Israel came into force on January 19th, establishes that the Gazans will be able to cross the Netzarim corridor to return to the north of the Palestinian enclave from Sunday. As of October 7, 2023, the Zionist forces of Israel caused the displacement of more than 85% of citizens of Gaza in the midst of a massive and unprecedented destruction of infrastructure and property of citizens. And thousands of people are still waiting on Saladino Street to gain access to the northern Gaza Strip and return to their homes.
We are sitting here until they open the road for us and we return to our homes. Children slept in the cold. We dismantled the wood from the tent and lit a fire with it to warm ourselves. We were waiting for this moment for Gaza and to go back to it. Last night was very tough. The cold was very intense. We are waiting here until they open the road. We return to our homes in the north of the Strip. I am from the Al-Shadi camp. Of course we hope to return to our homes. I have been displaced for 1 year and 3 months. We visited all the places during the period of displacement. When we heard the news that the army would not allow us to return to Gaza, we felt very sad and we hope in God that we will return to Gaza. It was a very difficult night. We were freezing cold.
My joy when I heard the news of my return to Gaza was indescribable. We want to show the enemy that we are firm and, God willing, we will be victorious. We have been here since last night and we have been in the south for 1.5 years.
In Jordan, the foreign ministry reaffirmed its rejection of the forced displacement of Palestinians after Trump proposed to relocate them to his country and Egypt. The foreign minister of Jordan, Ayman Safadi, said that the refusal to transfer the Palestinian people is firm and that it will not change. He also assured that they will work with all partners in the region to take clear steps towards the achievement of peace. It's not the first time that Trump and his team have proposed to another country to relocate Palestinian people, especially Gazans. In Lebanon, the Prime Minister Najib Mikati confirmed that the extension of the ceasefire agreement will continue until February 18th. The negotiating committee will continue to monitor the implementation of all points of the ceasefire agreement and the implementation of Resolution 1701, which provides for an end to the Israeli-Lebanese conflict. It should be noted that at the request of the Arab government, the United States will begin negotiations for the release of detainees captured by the Israeli occupation after October 7th. It's important to mention that upon the expiration of the previous ceasefire, Israeli forces opened fire in the south of the country against demonstrators demanding their withdrawal as part of the agreement, killing at least 22 Lebanese and wounding 124 other civilians. The government of Colombia, through its foreign ministry, informed on Sunday that the tense situation created with the United States after the South American nation's inadmissibility